right, Spellburn is back in the house, recording from the dead, deep dead media. But tonight, in this episode of Spellburn, is going to be a great show because tonight we are going to invoke the patron bond. Since the dawn of Spellburn, Judges J have called out to the void. Our aim is to commune with the great powers of imagination and the worthy wordsmiths of Goodman Games and the Dungeon Crawl Classics community. Now we unreservedly spellburn our life essences in service to the RPT, the DCC RPG community. I am Judge James, and tonight I have with me.
Hello. Hello.
It's Judge Julian. Hi.
It's Judge Julian. Hello.
And also our special guest, our patron invoked, Judge Mihailo.
Good evening. I bid you welcome to Spellburn.
All right, and Mihailo, you're coming from Serbia, is that right? From Belgrade, Serbia?
Yep,
Wow.
that's correct.
Wow, over the oceans.
It's almost 1 a.m. here, so let's make this count, guys.
Oh, right. Already we've auspiciously began with some great mute already and some terrible stuttering. And obviously it's time for tavern talk.
And now some thick Eastern European accent.
Now, why not? It's going to be like 3 for 3, baby.
Yep.
I'm ready for a drink. How about you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Cheers.
And the first rule of bartending is this: GBTB. Go beyond the book. Go beyond the book.
What do you have? Heineken. F that.
Tavern Talk.
All right, back in the tavern. So glad to be here. What are you having?
Oh,
Little bent paddle, black. Oh, wait, no, just water, please.
Just water. I'm having Slivovitz
I'm
for sure.
I'm having clear with a little barrel over there. I could show it to you, but maybe later.
Later.
It's a tiny little keg.
Nice. All right. Well, this is the segment where we talk kind of about what's been happening in gaming for all of us. And so, Judge Mihailo, why don't you start?
Well, I've been doing some happening in gaming is in some creative stuff I've been doing and making. I've been doing like this sort of for Young Farmer's Almanac. I'm doing some stuff. It's kind of like a new class that I like to call the Cipher. And the point of the class is that it has no abilities of its own. It can only absorb abilities of other things, classes, monsters, whatever. So it can turn out to be a really interesting character, and you can kind of try to build it or try to just go randomly with it, whatever, So, and another thing I did for GFA is like the kind of a popular thing is kind of the Dragonborn from 5e, but in DCC, like a DCC class. And I think I made it kind of interesting, really DCC-like, but I don't want to give away anything so people would get the Farmer's Almanac.
Nice. Interesting. What else? What else is going on?
So, well, this Kickstarter is going on a lot, but maybe I don't want to talk about it right now.
We are definitely going to talk about this Kickstarter. Make no mistake.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of my time at this moment. It's my first time doing it, so it's kind of like a lot of my days are about that.
Yeah.
But actually, I've been running Greyhawk for the first time. I played it in the 90s back then, but now I've been running it for some kids, which are 25 plus years old, but they're kids to us. Darn those kids! And but those dang kids only want to play 5e for now.
For now.
For now,
They should be.
We'll get them.
They should be playing Sickle and Torch. I would think at this point, it forced them to.
I started them off with Sickle and Torch because I have a 5e version, and they loved it. So, but this was like 0 level. Now their first level, they want to play a campaign. So let's play Greyhawk.
Okay. All right, and so of course we'll talk about Sickle and Torch.
Yeah.
And then, what's in the future? What's coming out besides Sickle and Torch?
Well, my time is probably going to be taken up for several months with some couple of new projects for Goodman Games. I don't know if I can discuss them, but like I'm doing an adventure, I can say that.
Nice.
And with the new Chris, the new editor for 5e, and
Right.
I'm doing another book that I don't think I should talk about yet.
All
I
right.
don't know. Maybe you guys probably know, but I don't know if I can. I'm just a writer. I don't
I,
I
we're,
don't
we're,
NDAs.
we none of us know what the heck we're doing. That's for sure. I don't. In general, I guess we don't really talk about them unless we kind of know what's happening. I
No,
don't know.
it's generally best not to say too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. This is the
Yeah,
super early stages, so
exactly, and until it is, and if you ever ask them, they say, by the way, they just go, "We just don't want people to think, you know, to." You say something in September of 2025, and they come back to you in April of 2027, and you said there was going to be dragon with 5 heads in there, and it only had 3 heads, and you're like,
it's not a
really?
dragon.
Like, I mean, that's the, I mean, it's in play, whatever. So anyway, mostly they just don't want details leaking out that don't really happen because they're in development and playtest and all those things.
And things
all that
change.
stuff.
And things change. But
Things change, of course.
but for sure, you're working on a 5e adventure that's going to come out soon, right?
Yep,
All right. Sounds
yep,
sounds good. Julian.
that's definite.
Yeah, I've got plenty going on. Been working on some funnels and also some funnels and maybe some more funnels.
Wow.
So I've been sharpening up my funnel skills and got some funnels in the pipeline. Prepping for GaryCon. I'm running my Pulp Adventure stuff there, and I decided to run those because I had run them at North Texas last year. So I thought, well, this won't be much work. But as I got into it, I was like, both those adventures need some improving and polishing and maybe changing around. So of course I ended up doing a bunch of work. When I say I ended up doing a bunch of work, what I mean is I'll end up doing a bunch of work tonight at 2 a.m. But that's the way it goes. And then swords.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, right.
All of
well,
our
2
worlds.
a.m. is now for Mihailo.
That's
so
true.
Thank you for joining
Yeah.
us late. But Swords Against and New Edge Sword and Sorcery both closed this weekend. Swords Against on Sunday, New Edge on Saturday. Great Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Oliver from New Edge hit 1,000 backers.
Wow.
That was pretty great. And I've got stories in both of those, sort of Jack
Great.
Vance inspired type things. Very, very excited. We did a live stream DCC Dying Earth game on Friday night with Oliver from New Edge Sword and Sorcery, as well as Paul Wolf and Thorin Thompson. And man, we had a blast. I bet like 4 people watched it, but we were having a really good time. We ran a little portion of the Mansive Erudite, that thing.
Expedition to the Mess of Erudite.
Yeah, and man, it was super fun. So somewhere out there, maybe I'll find a link to that and post it just in case somebody wants to while away a couple hours.
Nice.
But they were really fun players, so really in the spirit of it, and that was pretty fun.
It sounds like a good group.
Oh yeah.
I played with some of them, and it was always great fun.
Well, with Thorin and I, for some reason, we've gamed only 3 or 4 times together, but it's always DCC Dying Earth. So we have like a DCC Dying Earth rapport somehow. It just is the way it works. And I didn't even invite him or schedule him. It was all through Oliver. And then I was like, of course it's you. And it was great. It was super
Can I
fun.
just say something about DCC Dying Earth? I mean, every time we have played that, it's been super fun. Because, I don't know what all the factors are, but one factor is definitely like the character classes, the specific Dying Earth, and what kind of gameplay and emergent things they create with the Wayfarer and with the possibilities with the Magician. I know it's been sessions to remember always,
Yeah, no, the Wayfarer's luck stealing stuff can really create some mayhem at the table. It really, it never fails to, and you think the probabilities are pretty predictable, but sometimes they're not very predictable.
I have seen.
Sometimes he just rolls a one, you know?
Oh yeah.
I have seen a player die in tournament from the Wayfarer stealing all his luck.
Oh sure, of course.
Because he's like, I'm
Yeah.
going to bet like 7 luck points, and then it's a pretty good chance that he's going to steal them from the Wayfarer because of of how it was at that point in the game. But the Wayfarer rolled, or whatever, or he rolled under, or I can't remember who was doing the rolling, but it was like a very small chance it was going to happen, but it fell in there, 10% chance it happened, and away his luck went, and I was like, "You're dead," and he's like, "What?"
No, but it's great how it makes you do like, let's say, dumb things. It makes you do like maybe things you wouldn't do just in order to spend luck and to be able to bring it back and everything, you know. So it's kind of a mechanic that really, really like informs what you're gonna do, like how to role play and what to do in combat. And like I witnessed that, like our Wayfarer, who was like a wrestling guy because he had bonuses from Bert Augury to like unarmed combat, so he wrestled down all positions. And he used incredible luck to do it because he was like, he would have luck to do like do whatever needs to be done. And like I witnessed him roll a one when he only had like chance of one of passing, you know, and
Right.
then like everything went. So I love that. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, I mean the other characters at some point kind of start looking at the Wayfarer when his luck die starts going down or going up rather, and going, "Oh, I have a pretty good chance of stealing luck at this
Exactly.
point." You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
I could
I'm gonna
just
use it. I'm gonna use it.
I could just take some free luck right now. So,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. But 5-10% chance that can be hit pretty easy, no matter what.
Yep. Man, I was so bummed that because you had called out to some people, I think Jen and I, about joining
yeah.
that game, and it turned out I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to play Dying Earth, because I think the last time I played Dying Earth was this with you and with Thorin at Gary Con.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
The tournament,
Yes.
the playtest.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And so, and then I was like, oh shoot, I've got to game master I've got to do my own judge duties at home at the local 420. I was running Netcrawl.
Yeah, 3 was really a good number. To do it online and stuff. We were scrambling to get a 4th person, but honestly, 3 when in that
3
kind of
can work.
format, 3 is pretty
Three can
hot.
work really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some of the best sessions in my life with 3 players.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you listen to the podcast,
The tiebreaker, you know.
Yeah.
if you listen to like 3T RPG and those guys, like they have great podcasts with the 3, even sometimes 2 guys, right? Like
You got to get serious when you have like such limited
Yeah.
resources. You can't slop it around. Everybody's got to be in.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to be thinking, and you got no room
The
for
way it
slack.
becomes much more old school just by the virtue of there being like so limited options.
Yeah,
But it's easier to make decisions.
that's true too. And coordinate. Lot more communication
Yeah.
seems to happen when there's fewer people at the table.
Yeah. But in finals, when you run like one bunch of 0 levels, it also works great because you have like only 12 characters, not 24.
Right. And other news, other things this week for me, I went to New York City to start the month of March. And I went out to sunny Stony Brook, that's in Long Island, or on Long Island coast, and was at the university and kind of doing the same thing, a talk about RPGs to some students, and then demonstrating Netcrawl. And so that was, again, a fantastic experience. I was with a bunch of young kids, college age kids, and like a couple, professors. None of them, except for the guy who had kind of invited me to come out and speak, none of them had ever played an RPG before in their lives. None of them. So like the dice, and then I'm throwing the funky dice in here too, and all this stuff. But they had just like kind of this great time.
Get them hooked on the hard stuff right away.
Getting them hooked.
Get
Yes.
those D30.
Yes, D30.
Yeah.
This is how we play. So I've been really, this has really been an interesting perspective on, being a gamer and like taking it kind of to the streets a little bit and talking to people that don't play and kind of watching them discover it. It's been kind of an amazing thing to do the past couple months. So I've been thankful for these opportunities to come along. And also that weekend, this was early March, was the Long Island Tabletop Gaming Expo was going on in Garden City, New York. That's I don't know, kind of in the middle of Long Island, I guess, basically. And they put this gaming convention on inside an aerospace museum called the Cradle of Aviation. And so I have some pictures, but like all the tables for gaming are in the museum, like displays and stuff. So like you walk around the
Is
corner.
that where is that where the Wright brothers like flew for the first time? Was that
Well,
somewhere there?
this is what was kind of mysterious to me, knowing kind of the Wright brothers. Like they're from Ohio. They flew in South Carolina,
Yeah.
North Carolina, I guess. So why is New York
Why?
important to all this story? But I guess it is. I guess they did a lot of kite flying. I don't know, in New York, and they kind of
okay.
developed like the steering mechanism that they used in the Wright brothers flyer was some sort of kite prototype or something like that. These are the things I learned while I was there.
Yeah, you're full of information.
Yes, and they had a bunch of like aviation, like airplanes and stuff all around. And basically, you just walk around, and every kind of museum display would be a couple tables, people running stuff, and there was somebody running a couple people running DCC, which was amazing. I wasn't really expecting it. It's very much maybe more geared towards board gaming and war gaming and D&D. Maybe the role playing side's a little newer to the thing, but they did have it all kind of filled up. It was really amazing, just this venue, and to see a couple people playing DCC. It was cool. So I got to.
What were they playing?
They were playing. Let's see, someone was playing running Sailors on the Starless Sea, and
Good.
then somebody I think had done. I don't know. He told me the name of the adventure, and I didn't recognize it right off. So I think it must be a 5e adventure that he converted over to DCC.
Oh.
And so he had, like, I saw the character sheets. I was like, oh, what's going on there? Like the regular, DCC, character sheets. I was like, what's going on here? And they told me what the name of it was. I'm like, I don't remember that one at all. So.
Well, that's a great sign.
Yeah,
People are also playing various adventures in the system.
Right. They're bringing it into the system regardless. So I gave them some swag and stuff. These people that were running stuff, and I had a nice time chatting with all them. And then
And how many people were there? Like, how large was it?
It was pretty big. I was really surprised because I was looking at this thing, and it did not look. It was really difficult to tell whether this was a substantial con or not from the outside, from the webpage and that stuff. But they filled that place up. It's a big museum. So I bet you they had, 1,000 people or something like that there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Over the
That's
couple
pretty
days
good.
it took place. But yeah, it was really cool. Cool venue. I think that was the most amazing part of it all. I'd go back just to sit down and play next to some sort of, helicopter or whatever. And then to top it off, the end of it was I got to met up with the proprietor of the 20-sided store in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Her name's Lauren, and she carries a bunch of DCC stuff, lots of OSR stuff, Mothership, the whole nine yards, OSE, everything, as well as the regular stuff you'd expect there. But she has a bunch of workshops she does. She's also a writer, a gaming writer. She's writing her own system and setting and all this other cool stuff. So she was fantastic to get to know. And we did a workshop together, adventure writing workshop there, using kind of some hex crawl mechanics, which was kind of new to her.
Nice.
And so we just kind of threw some stuff together. I kind of used the Netcrawl Arcology's book as like we'll just do a hex crawl. We'll throw some dice on the table, push them together, and we'll figure out what the story is. So that was really cool to do that over at her store. So if you are in the New York City region, you should be checking out the 20-sided store in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, for sure. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's we good. Everybody got plenty to drink here.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
good.
I guess it's time to pick up the pitchforks and burn those wallets. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right.
Search every ravine, every crevice, but the fiend must be found. Are you ready? Light your torches and go.
All right. Crowd burn, baby. All right. Who's going first? Well, maybe.
Well, you're the host.
Well,
I
maybe.
think I think Mihailo has to go first.
I think he
Actually,
does
right?
actually.
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
Tell.
right.
You invoked me.
I did. We
Yes.
did.
I have to do what you say for now.
We'll release you later.
Thank you.
So tell us about Sickle and Torch. What's going on with your Kickstarter? Tell us about it.
So the Kickstarter, I would say, is going great, but we always need more help with it. But we're at like almost 80% and 10 days to go. So, but that's the non-important stuff. The important stuff is what is Sickle Torch for those who are listening to this and hear about it for the first time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's something I've been working for a long time. It's an expansion for like more fun in funnels. That's how I like to call it for DPC. It's like additional rules, like optional, like options for zero level play, but they can also be used for some like low level play for up to third level. And it's set of four adventures. Julian was mentioning funnels, funnels, funnels. Like I was also in funnels for the last couple of years. I've just discussed with my friend Mihailo, who's also a DC GM, how many funnels we played in the last couple of years, and that's not including Sickle and Torch, just to play test and then to play Sickle and Torch and Sickle and Torch. So it's for adventures that can be used as funnels, but that due to the rules that I introduced or the optional rules in the rulebook, they can be also used as for characters levels 1, 2, or 3. That's the basic of it, what it is.
And when is it?
What kind of
Go ahead.
what kind of rules are those that scale them up like that?
I think we should talk
So
about
I
that
started
later. Don't you think?
Okay, okay, I can talk about it all day long.
Okay, if you promise to remember.
I will.
I will remember.
There's a bunch of stuff we should go through, but that should be during the Invoke section.
Yeah.
Tell us where you are. Tell us where you are in the Kickstarter. Have you funded yet?
No, we're at 78%.
78%. So if you're hearing this,
Yeah.
people in the universe, get yourself over to Kickstarter and back this project. How long does it go?
It goes on until the 24th of March. So I don't know when this is going to be airing, but hopefully we're going to have more by then. But still, we need your support always. This is our first project and our first Kickstarter, and I think it shows that we put a lot of our hearts into it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a rule book, a supplement kind of book, and then 4 adventures in your setting, right?
Yeah.
So
You can get them in PDF and print also, but the setting is less important, but it is kind of important because the idea for me, main idea, we can talk about that now, I suppose, not later in the work section. The main idea was I love having a good reason for the funnel. So it's always a good reason. Okay, something evil is next to your village, and then no heroes are appearing, and you guys need to sort it out. So I love that. That's I'm a kind of I have that kind of view on how things are solved, more like communal and more like than individual heroes solving stuff. And I know D&D is about that, but I love that somehow this concept also appears in D&D. That's the funnel.
there's some really great
So
having a look at it. There's some really great stuff in there for highlighting that kind of hero zeros to heroes kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward for us to get into that, and we'll definitely talk a
Yeah.
lot
So
about it.
yeah.
Wow, and this is pretty slick. I mean, you can get all the PDFs and the rulebook for $39, just as the
Yeah.
PDFs, which is 4 adventures
Yeah.
and like some optional rules and stuff like
Yeah.
that for $40 is pretty friggin' good. And then, or you in even the physical thing, uh, is pretty hot too for 42, right? That's
You get
is
you
that
get you get adventures for 42, but if you want the full bundle, it's 66
66? Okay, got
Still,
it. Well,
for
that's
but
adventures in the world.
but for print, that's so for 4 print
it's like
adventures
five
and
five books.
yeah, that's
Yeah, the
pretty
five
that's
books
pretty good.
and adventures are 32 to 36 pages, and the rule book is not much thicker than that. It's like 45 pages because it's like simple rules. I didn't don't get fluff text and much. I just want to present a lot of good, I hope, good options for zero level play in all these systems. So every chapter is like 2 pages. You can plug it and use just that chapter, or use all of them. Or use several. It's like really modular.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I'm assuming, yeah, you could take the rules out and use them in any campaign at all, pretty much, right?
Yep. And it all started like that. I play tested all of these rules through various DCT campaigns I ran over the course of the last 7 years.
Hmm.
So all of this has been like brewing and brewing and brewing, and like good Slivovitz. It's been in a barrel for a while. We're opening. Let's help us open the barrel so it pours over to it.
We've been talking about Slivovitz already before. We haven't been
Yeah,
drinking Slivovitz tonight, but we have been talking.
I
If you
love.
don't
I
know, it's
have
the
it. So
oh you well but
I
the
had one small.
I have not, unfortunately, but
It's been several years since I've had some good homemade Slivovitz.
it's pretty good.
You're
You
welcome to
drink
come
it?
here, guys.
Okay, it's on.
All right.
Yeah.
All right,
Um,
want to take the next one, Julian?
Yeah. No, before we transition off this guy though, also available in 5e and Shadow Dark
Oh,
too.
that's right.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. Also play tested in 5e and Shadow Dark thoroughly. It's not like, let's do this because people like. It's like the idea was to make it work in 5e. If I can make it work there, DCC is not a problem.
All right.
Not because it's, why? Because finally it's a DC thing.
No, nice. And if your kids are only going to play 5e, etc., that kind of thing, or the Shadow Dark is the new hotness, or whatever it is, you
Yep.
can get the same stuff, do it, and run it there, and go with that. So, yeah, I like it.
Thanks.
Very good. Next one, I'll take that, is Seekers of the Other Worlds. Speaking of our pal Thorin Thompson, third level adventure from Thorin. This is a big thing. It's a
man.
third level campaign for
It's a
DCC.
campaign, yeah.
So it's not just an adventure. This is a big friggin' thing. It takes your characters on a cosmic, multiverse spanning adventure into the unknown with strange worlds, unearthly adversaries, new allies and patrons. And there's a ton of stuff in this. So go check it out. He's funded and he's got a lot of nice details on backer kit. Of course, we're going to have a link and all that. But it has 5 other worlds and appendixes with a handout book with 32 pages of handouts. I assume that's art and objects and that kind of stuff, and cutouts and all that jazz. But I can't quite get over, especially because we were gaming on Friday night with Thorin and he was holding this thing when we were on the video feed. He's got this replica of. There's this dagger in the Thorin verse.
All right.
That's an important part of the Seekers of the Other. The other ones, right? What's his
The
first
Art
one?
of Adventures.
The Flame, Seekers of the Flame, and
Crimson Flame or whatever.
and the Forest, whatever, the Dark Forest or
Blight of the Eastern
Blight,
Forest
Blight
or
of the
something.
Eastern Forest. That's
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, there's this dagger that's present in all these adventures, kind of a little bit, maybe whispered of, hinted at, and blah blah blah. He's created this resin. I guess his wife is like a sculptor or something, and she's made this thing
yeah.
with an eyeball in the hilt and the whole 9 yards. So
Yeah.
you gotta You gotta just go look at the backer kit. Even if you hate Thorn and you
Yeah.
don't want to fund it, you really need to go look at this thing. It's just nuts. And then once you see it, you're gonna be like, "But I love Thorn, and of course I'm gonna throw
Yeah,
it."
of course I'm gonna. That's what I did.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
So to know
It
him,
happened to me. I can vouch. I can vouch for what Julian is saying.
to know him is to love him. He's anyway, but it's fun. And this I don't know that anybody has ever made a full on resin magical weapon for DCC yet, and it's pretty freaking cool looking. Like it's not just cool that he made it.
Yes.
Like it's actually pretty creepy. So I'd say take a look at that guy.
Yeah.
Seekers of the Other Worlds, and that runs
Back that up.
through 15 days left, so somewhere around the 31st.
Yeah. And I'll take the next one. It's Crawl Magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Jack Ultimac.
The new one.
The new one. So it is it's a reprint, right, of issue number 1. It's a mega size reprint, so it's not zine size, it's comic book size. It also has an alternate Doug Kovacs cover, which looks sweet. And so this is the first one of the classic zine series. So Van Dendergerfer Minger, patron, whatever that guy was name was. That's the subject of that issue, and that ends on March 21st. Both the campaigns that we mentioned, Seekers of the Other Worlds and Crawl Magazine, have funded. So they're doing a cross collab on backer kit. So there's some sort of cross rewards if you back both of those suckers, I guess. So make that wallet burn, baby. I mean, that's what it's there for.
Back it up. Back it up, baby.
That's right. And then coming soon is Castle White Rock, and all the friends of Castle White Rock, which I didn't know castles had friends, but that's cool. And so is that in April?
A moat house, an outhouse.
A shed,
That's
a still in the woods.
that'd be a cool set of adventures. Like you get a castle right through, then like a shed in the woods, like a tiny adventure, like an outhouse next to it, like a series of friendly adventures around the castle.
Yeah.
The outhouse of the horned god. That'd be a good funnel. An all
That's,
gone
that's not
farmer.
the. You wouldn't want to sit down in that outhouse.
Right, of course. Yes, Castle White Rock is launching in April. We've talked about it many times because it's been kind of on the horizon for a long time, and but it's gigantic. Our April show, we're probably going to be talking to some White Rock affiliated folks, maybe Mr. Bruner or maybe other folks, who knows, or maybe a bunch of folks. There are going to be a bunch of collaboration DCC people like Marzio and others with related projects to that too. In fact, I've been working on one, and it's all ready to go for Explore Dungeons, and we're going to talk all about that stuff. So
you are the outhouse. You're the friends.
I am the outhouse. I've been accused of that many times. I'm waiting for you in the outhouse. I'm the guy. Well, anyway. So, Castle White Rock is coming, and it is going to be really big. So it's going to be pretty fun to see all that stuff with the cool videos of the product and the clamshells and the boxes and this and that and all the art, and it's a mega project. And then it's going to have another 10 or 12 mega projects. So I don't know if they're all mega projects, but another 10 or 12 big things with it. It's going to be Mega Dungeon Month. So there's going to be other, it's going to be wild. It's going to be a crazy month in April. So stay tuned for that. We're going to have a lot more details coming up.
Great.
Do you want to take this next one, James? This was a late breaking one last night that I was literally adding in here.
Nice. I would be glad to, because it's my main man, Judge Kablooey, at it again with Kablooey Fine Nerdery. He's doing something for Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland called Can You Dig It? It's going to be a third level adventure, I guess, for Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. You know it's going to be wild and strange. It says 1980s Grebo mayhem crashes headfirst into end of the millennium psychosis. Wow.
I
Okay.
love that door.
Yes, it's a late 90s splat book for the Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. Subculture swagger, dance floor decay, radioactive attitude. There's some Kickstarter exclusives, a comic size edition. Because sometimes bigger is better. That's what Kablooey says, at least.
Yep.
So this will be interesting. So we've got Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland, that 80s, 90s, Sega Genesis, Cabbage, Mutant Crawl, what is it? Garbage Pail Kids and all this stuff.
Wrestling. Lots of wrestling.
Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic, but now we're going to do some nice dance floor EDM version of Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. I can't wait.
I was there in the olden times, like the 80s and the 90s. I still had to look up what the heck Grebo means. It was not a thing for me anyway, where I was.
Me neither. We had Detroit Techno. We had that stuff going on.
Yeah. We had Euro techno here, but that was like really mainstream popular.
Yes.
It was not underground at all.
Yeah. Well, we heard plenty of that, but yeah, it's
You did. Everybody did.
Everybody did.
right. So anyway, that's probably our next. That's probably our next Neon Lords thing. But this looks pretty friggin' interesting. So
Neon Lords of Berlin, like in Europe. Very kind.
Go to the clubs, dance in the clubs.
we need a mixtape for this, actually.
Yeah.
Like the entire adventure in front of the dungeon, you can't get into the dungeon.
Yeah, I think we need a mixtape. Tell Kablooey we need a mixtape for this.
Kablooey better have a mixtape. Hear that, Judge Kablooey? I know you're
Well,
going to be listening.
I love it. Doesn't Thorin also have a mixtape for his Secret of Adventure?
Oh, that's
Some
right.
Dungeon Sin?
Yes, he's got a dungeon tape or whatever, cassette tape. I got the one from the
Listen to
first
tracks.
campaign.
They kick ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to get a tape player.
So I'm gonna get our game up, man. So our Kickstarters need soundtracks. We need to do that.
All right.
All right. So don't forget to email spellburnband@gmail.com to tell us about your next crowdfunding campaign. That way we'll know about it, and then we'll talk about it during Crowdburn. Speaking of emails, how about we summon some?
I don't believe it. 700 years undead, and now this.
Summon email.
All right. So let's open up the email bag.
All right. You want to take maybe these? You want to take this first one?
I can do that. Judges at Spellburn. I was listening to your most recent episode, and I was surprised and grateful to hear you plug my backer kit for Sisterhood of the Splintered Bone and This Rose Will Never Die. I didn't even have to beg. Just wanted to say thanks. Happy to send some free copies along to any of you when I get them in hand. From Matt. Well, thanks, Matt.
See, now, so I wanted to read. Now, normally when we get some hellos and thank yous and things like this, we don't always include them because they're not that interesting. However, notice how we plugged his backer kit thing without even getting a free copy, because it was out there, because I was able to find it on Google and it looked pretty fun. But also notice, if you're listening to this, we'll freaking put your stuff on here. So if you got a Kickstarter backer kit, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, don't let it go to fate, but rather email us at spellburnband@gmail.com. That's spellburnband@gmail.com. Don't take any chances. Just email us and drop us a line about your Kickstarter. There's many ways to contact us through the ether, but that's the best way. So, but thank you, Matt. I think your Gothic space fantasy looked pretty crazy and fun. So happy to. I hope we helped, and I hope the rest of that effort went great. Do you want me to take Judge Ed?
Sure.
Judge Ed Stanek wrote us about Castle White Rock, which a lot more to come next month, as we were just saying. But he continued on. On an unrelated note, would you guys please mention a new book called Plushy Crawl Classics? It's now on drive-through-rpg.com. So there's not a backer kit or anything like that. So it's already out there and you can grab it. And all you got to know is Plushy Crawl Classics, although I will put it in the show notes. However, it says it's a stripped down rule system for playing with young children where kids can play as their stuffed animals. The PDF is available free of charge, and the print on demand is being sold at just print cost, which is currently $3.99. You can believe that the shipping costs are going to be about 50 times that pretty soon. But anyway, that's another problem. Anyway.
Get the PDF.
Right.
Kids.
Well, but anyway, Ed says, so they're not making any money, but he just wanted to let people have fun playing a game with their kids. Anyway, Plushy Crawl Classics is out there. I think that sounds pretty fun, and it sounds like a great game to kind of get kids into, playing RPGs and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Because Cesar Khan and Stefan Pogue and Doug Kovac's art might be a little heavy for the, the under 10 crowd,
Some sort of creeping oozes can be omitted from these adventures.
Right.
Yes.
But I just have to say I love how DCC is such a good chassis, such a good system that you can do stuffed animals. I did dance robots with DCC. I did a lot of different stuff with it. It's it works,
I know.
Absolutely.
It's magic.
You could do a whole cyberpunk system on it.
Somebody had thought of that.
The possibilities are just seemingly endless.
Okay. Should I do Judge Andre? I'll do Judge Andre.
Okay.
Because this one is a little strange. We got a little graphic piece in here that we're not going to share, but I'll kind of explain what that looked like. So this comes from Judge Andre. Hey, Julian and the other overlords. Great episode. Loved it. And he asked us about our format. So I will say this. Sorry to pause in the midst of your email, Andre. But he did ask about what's going on. It's slightly different in terms of we are not going to be live on YouTube, but we will still record our stuff on video and have it uploaded to YouTube, and then rip our stuff and edit it and send it down on the podcast channel. So we, at this point, are planning to still be on Goodman Games YouTube and will also be out there as a podcast. So both things should be out there. There's just no live cast at this point. Will we ever go back to that? I don't know. If people demand it, maybe. So we'll see. Anyway, he says, Judge Andre goes on and says, I ran into a weird, almost too good to be true scenario today. I opened the new Charles Ferguson Avery backer kit delivery into the Cess and Citadel, and I found something weird that I had to share with you on this topic that we've been mulling over together about Ben Milton. And this goes back to the Questing Beast video where Ben Milton of Knave fame was, expressing some opinions about DCC format and layout and being suboptimal or whatever. And we talked about this a little bit on some prior episodes. I'm sending you a sample of the PDF here that is relevant to the conversation. What I've highlighted also in the image is that Charles seems to like DCC RPG best, but he also lists Knave. This could be a bridge to be built between DCC RPG and extended communities with Ben Milton. Maybe Charles is onto something. I could ask him, but you guys might be closer to it. He has a little snippet of Into the Cess and Citadel, which is a really good product. Have you seen this, James?
I have
it's
not.
It's like an urban source book, and it's really thick and big, and it's cool as heck. I think it's system neutral. I can't remember if he has its own system or what system it's for, but there's so much stuff in there. It's pretty neat. Anyway, but his recommended systems, as he says, Dungeon Crawl Classics is first on the list.
Yeah.
And then Knave is down there at the bottom, and then D&D 5e comes down
at the very last.
At the end of the list. But there's Blue Box and there's Morkibjerg and there's
Troika,
and there's all kinds of good
Black
stuff in there.
Hack.
Well, it's pretty wide. I don't know if Ben is going to make peace with us on the strength of this, but I do think that it's interesting to point out that in fact they're actually just like Knave and DCC are kind of just things that go two separate directions, not even 180 degrees, but like just different onward directions from the same old school rules light, kind of have fun, rulings not rules, OSR type of inspirations, right?
Yeah.
And there's room for everything, and there's room to format the same thing in all kinds of different ways that people enjoy. So enough said. Anyway, it's fun to see that, of course, those are cited with the same people. So thank you, Andre. And then we got what I thought was a very interesting. I'll take this one.
This
James,
is a
if you don't mind.
2-page email. I swear to God, maybe 3 pages.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it down, but we got an email from my old friend Judge Mathieu Suroy, and he's quite an adventurer. I think he's vanning around in North Africa right now, or was recently. He's a really interesting guy and has corresponded with me a little bit over the COVID era, and we've had his letters on Spellburn before, if I remember.
I think so.
Anyway, I'm just going to cut. We're cutting some of this up, but anyway, I'll start with. He's obviously talking about that Questing Beast video, and he says, initially I thought Ben was right. Simplified layouts, bullet points, 2-page spreads, maps, yada yada. These are all strategies that allow a DM to run an adventure with minimal preparation. We've seen this type of format, quote unquote, perfected in the old school Essentials books.
Right.
I backed both of their major Kickstarters and marveled at their expertly formatted rulebooks. That being said, I never ever run OSC adventures. Why? Because it's boring. There's no spice in bullet points. Even prepping the adventure is uninspiring. And this isn't just me, because I've talked to other judges who feel the same way. But when you read DCC, you're getting into the mood, you're immersing yourself in the Appendix N, you're getting inspiration that will fuel your imagination for your game. Preparing for a DCC game is part of the fun. In other words, minimal games are like a Hyundai Accent, and DCC is like a Corvette.
Of course it is.
Okay. They'll both take you to the grocery store, but you'll have way more fun driving the Corvette. Does that mean Ben's comment is worthless? I actually still think he's onto something, because to efficiently run a DCC game, I need to prepare, and for me, that means highlighting the heck out of my adventures, and even the adventures, my tomes of adventures, because there's more than one of these hardbacks that are collecting the adventures, right?
Right.
He says, I know for some players this is blasphemy, but I need to do this to quickly find monsters, key NPC quotes, and especially traps. And it always annoys me realizing the next day that I forgot to trigger a trap simply because it was lost in the text.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, I would, he has some suggestions. So, I'm just going to hit these really quick. I think they're pretty interesting. And what you notice about these is he's not talking about greatly changing format, anything like that. He's just saying, what if you enhanced things a little bit around the edges, basically, right? So he had some
It just made some stuff clearer.
Yeah, right. So he says, like adding a little symbol, like a skull or bag icon in the text to draw attention to traps and treasure. And he put little like emoji type things in his letter to indicate. Putting the monster stats and descriptions in a grayed out block, right?
Yeah.
I've seen old school adventures that did that kind of stuff. Adding subtitles to bring attention to specific scenarios like negotiations and that kind of thing. Making sure that infrequent rules are referenced in the core rulebook, and the crit table and dice are noted in the monster stats. Well, I'm here to tell you, crit table and dice are always going to be noted going forward.
That's true.
It was pretty inconsistent.
They already have been for a couple of years. I know from the stuff I've been doing.
That's true.
The style guide changed and added those for sure.
Yeah. Well, you could go back and edit them when you reprint them, like sailors and things like that. So anyway, and he gives the example of like if there's a falling thing, you could reference in the DCC core book where the falling rule is, or drowning, or whatever. Anyway, he says all these changes keep the feeling of the existing old modules with minor adjustments that would help people be more efficient. And then he says, I'll happily sit at my painting station and continue highlighting and coloring my adventures with a cup of tea or beer. If things don't change, I'm fine with that. And then I put in 3 photos into our show notes because he has these awesome colors. He's done like colored pencils. I think they're colored pencils, or maybe markers.
It looks like it.
Maybe markers, because some of these are really bright, but they're just amazing, like coloring in of the black and white stuff in his DCC core book. So and then he kind of illustrates like how he highlights the text, which is done in a very tidy way as well. But these are so cool to look at, like some of the really neat art, like Sailors on the Starless Sea. He's got the map colored in, and it's like, wow, okay. I might put those in the show notes because they're so cool to look at. So thank you, Judge Mathieu. Good.
Do we talk more about this, or we go to the next segment?
Yeah,
I mean, if you got something to say, add it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, I love his insight. I love his insight about, or his observation about why the DCC adventures, when written as they are now, what do they do to you as a GM? They help you get into it. And I was just literally before the show talking to my friend who's also like a judge for DCC, but also for 5e and everything. And we were talking like when we prepare stuff for 5e, like or for other systems that are D and derivatives, as I like to call them, D and derivative systems. They like, especially old adventures. It's really, you always have to add something. It's always, oh yeah, look at this. Maybe it's a starting of point, inspiration, but it's never as is. It's like, okay, yes, that's like, I don't know, movie from the 20s is a great movie, but and it was revolutionary. Like, I don't know, the Metropolis movie. But you've seen all that stuff in so many movies in the meantime that you can't go back. You can't just use an old adventure. You have to, and same goes for old adventures. So we always add stuff. We always think of something. But when we go with DCC adventures, both of us, we always ran them as is. We would never like, oh, maybe I could enhance this. But no, it's like so cool, so many stuff happening. You can't know where this is gonna go, and you just run it as is, and it's always been great. So, and I know this is more about like how laid out it is, how easy for the game master to quickly pick it up and play and run it. But I don't know. I think this speaks a lot about DCC adventures that in our like a lot of years of running, we didn't modify them when we run them, as opposed to like all the legendaries, all the first edition, all the basic adventures we ran, always had something to like, this could be better,
Right,
in my book.
right. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, in the old pioneering days, let's face it, they were pioneering. It wasn't always perfect, but they were doing.
You can't judge them by our standards.
No, and and it's funny because I think Joseph has said a few times in terms of the origin of DCC RPG, he said, let's imagine we rewrote White Box D&D, trying to be as faithful or even more faithful to Appendix N inspirations, but utilizing everything we actually learned about role-playing games since then, including how to run them and that kind of stuff, right? So exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these modules are we've got good writers who really enjoy that Appendix N source material and love playing in that space, and that's what's different about DCC is we're reading these books. I would think we all are reading these books as writers, and we love them so much that we're trying to like steal like an artist as much as possible from them. And so that's we're doing the same thing. We want prose.
Of course. Yeah, and the book writers, they when you write a book, you can't really have like nothing happening. You can't have an empty room.
Right.
So you need to like you think like that, then every room is like an event or something that
Yes.
can happen.
Yes.
It doesn't have to, but there's an option. So that's I think what the DCC module writing approach is all about, to me at
Yeah.
least. Well, what's most distinct about it.
Yeah.
So here's one more to keep it international, since we seem to be doing that today. And by the way, Mathieu is from Quebec.
Quebec.
That's in Canada, James. But the so I'm thinking of Jogo's adventure, Halls of the Blood King for OSE, which is a terrific adventure, right? One in any and all that stuff, and it's very fun to read and a great adventure and all that stuff. But then I'm just thinking, to Mathieu's point there, what if it was written out DCC style?
Oh.
How much more
Yeah.
fun would that be if if it had Doug art and Stefan art and I'm not knocking the OSE, because it's very nicely put together. They have great production values. So it's not I'm not, trying to mess with them, because obviously they've been
I'm
very
gonna mention that
successful.
to me it's boring as compared to DCC.
Well, and I just think of having that experience of reading that in a DCC format would just make it like even more fun. It would just take
Yep.
it would just it would be a reading experience and not a PowerPoint experience, right?
And I said it as a reader, not as a player.
Yeah,
Every adventure can be great, depending on who you play it with or whatever, But
Yeah, and it's still, either way, it's a freaking good adventure. So, anyway, good thought-provoking emails from Judge Andre and Judge Mathieu. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, well
And,
done. Well done, judges of all letters. We thank you and return all the letters to all the judges from whence they came. Alakazam. I've banished this email box.
Until next time. But remember, you too can email us at spellburnband@gmail.com.
That's right. Are we ready?
you have the power.
Yes, I have the power. I'm going to invoke a patron right now.
I sent my elf spies to find out what was happening.
If I were creating a world, I wouldn't mess about with butterflies and daffodils. I would have started with lasers. 8 o'clock, day one. Oh! Sorry.
All right.
Patron.
The judges, Jay, have made their invoke patron spell check. With little blood loss, we now summon a Goodman Games freelancer and author, Judge Mihailo Tesic, from across the gulfs and oceans, in this case, literally of water. Judge Mihailo lives and conjures from his manse in Serbia and has been a Goodman Games freelance writer since 2021, penning the Three Wizard Conundrum, a DCC, it's a 5e adventure on free RPG Day. That was from Goodman Games. But he's about a year before that, he also published with Purple Duck Games, doing The Siege of Bonemore Keep. And with that, I will summon thee, Mihailo, to Spellburn. Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I mean, I've been a DC player for a long time and a listener also. And this is kind of like another badge, another medal for me to appear.
That's right.
Here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're absolutely pleased to have you.
Now we just have to get this out of the way right away. Like you're the second Serbian we've had on the show, right?
Yeah.
So
and my friend was the first. Yeah.
Right. So you guys, so Svebor, right?
Yes, of course. We've been playing together since my early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the last century.
Well, we don't want to. I don't want to be one of those people who meets somebody from a city of 2 million people and you're do you know my friend? You know.
But I do.
In this case.
In this case, well, that's great though. I mean, he's great. Yeah. Well, he's one of our favorites, obviously. Needless to say.
Yeah, I remember his appearance, the Spellburn podcast. It was
Spellburn. Yeah, we were Spellburn for yes, indeed.
Oh, all right.
So my friend, he got me into DCC.
Aha.
Aha.
There you go.
There we go. Now, Bone More Keep. That one
It's more,
is
but I love saying it bone more. It's kind of has a sexual connotation then.
right, but it's Bone. But it's Bone More. Is
It's
that a
like more, yeah.
DCC adventure?
Yes, it is. It's DC funnel.
Okay, so you've done both. You've done both some 5e stuff for Goodman for the fifth
Yes,
edition
and
fantasy,
DCC.
and also DCC already before you got to this project.
Yes.
Cool.
Right. You did
And,
Dark Tower, Monsters and Magic, right?
yep, and Dungeon Denizens, both one and two, which is not out yet, but I did that too.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of work. I really loved it. It was such a great project. I know it's been kind of controversial for reasons that are not really important here, but the city state of the Invisible Overlord. I did both for 5e and for DCC, but I like did some dungeons that were like in the original. They were only like laid out, nothing written about them under the city state and up in the mountains, the dwarven halls and everything. So like I did several of those and made them like into really like contained dungeons for like a lot of fun stuff, I think so, and a
Wow.
lot of like encounters and like small villages and things that are all over the place. And I can't wait for it to be in my hands so I can run it. That's going to be my next campaign in DCC.
I'm looking forward to seeing that book too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's some controversy. All of that stuff has nothing to do with Goodman Games or the original
Yep.
source material.
Yep.
That's all you can say. So it's very
True.
unfortunate that there are people in this whole chain of being that had nothing to do with that product and really can't take any credit for it, who, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it was really fun and it's a great product I can vouch for that. So
I mean, the original thing is just freaking crazy. I
Right.
mean, like
crazy,
something
but now I think we kind I say we because a lot of people worked on it, of course. We made it kind of like we kept the craziness, but made it kind of make sense, It's like in the newer systems and everything. It's like I don't know, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, no, I think I think that when they, have obviously used some of Janelle's things and stuff like that, they've done a really nice job of, modernizing stuff and making it a little more streamlined and make sense. So, true,
Yeah.
true. Okay, great.
But you've been playing
Onward.
for like 32 years, is that right?
Yes, and I started off with and it's the same as Spellburn, but not in the same crew. To be like, I started off with the Warhammer fantasy role play, the
Oh, nice.
first edition one from the 80s, and with second edition D&D. Then we played some first edition, and then like the rest is like different systems, but until DCT came out. But still, like there's that's like maybe specific for Serbia. That's like the D&D was not like the main thing here. There was like a lot of other things being played, like equally or more, like Warhammer Fantasy Role Playing, old Cyberpunk 2020,
Oh, nice.
like Call of Cthulhu. A lot of people loved and played that and still do. So D&D was just one system, but then as years went by, it kind of got new additions. And like when internet came, it was mostly about D&D, so we played most of that. But and then in 2015, DCC came to our shores here over the ocean
Nice.
and over the internet, and like I think we were hooked, like some of us at least.
Right. The good people get hooked.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
obvious.
Those that run games, then the others have to play.
Right.
DCC.
And
That's how we spread it.
there's an interesting commonality because there's a thread in DCC fans who are actually Warhammer people, right?
Yes,
I mean, they
it's
probably,
compatible.
yeah, and like it's just the sort of grittiness and the vibes of Warhammer Fantasy, in some ways, are closer to DCC than D&D maybe, right?
Right.
Like,
For starters, you're not heroes. You're ordinary folk. That's
Right.
that's the, and that is going to feed into me talking about Sickle and Torch more. But that's what we loved about it, because like kind of heroic epic stuff, that's cool, but it's always like, at least I know in people I grew up around, or people who like fantasy and these kind of role-playing games, it's always like, okay, we love to read about it, but come on, like the fun thing to play is like if we ordinary folks can become like heroes, so either, no matter if we're the Black Company or if we're some cyberpunk netrunners or solos, or if we're like like in Dragonlance playing, whatever. It's like, oh, let's like become those heroes, and that's why we love Warhammer, because you start there with a random profession, that like you can be a rat catcher, you can be a student, you can be whatever, and then you try to survive in that horrible world. And when you mentioned the Thorin's dagger that he had, like that it screams Warhammer to me, when I saw that for the first time. So and I love the sensibility; they're really compatible.
There's some gonzo-ness to Warhammer. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. With the chaos,
Yeah.
you can't have like you have to have randomness when the chaos is such an important part of the world.
Right.
Well, and the magic being dangerous and kind of
Yeah.
associated more with corruption and chaos. Anyway, it's just it's interesting how much that comes up if you talk with. I mean, even with Doug Kovacs or Harley, or there's a big Warhammer vibe in some of that earliest stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's why DCC got its hooks into me so easily.
Right.
It was like, oh yes, this is D&D that everybody wants to play, but it's like Warhammer, yes.
The perfect marriage.
Yes.
Now, I'm seeing in your notes here, you did a 4-year campaign, and it says you went from 0 to 10. So were you really doing campaign play with these 9th and 10th level characters and stuff?
Yes. We did everything. It was like, I mean, it's always like, speaking about the campaign, it's like, okay, like, look what you went to your vacation. Nobody wants to look at your pictures. But, it's like, the fact is that it was organic. We just started playing DCC. It was like, I have a huge city, which I named for one of my favorites. Short stories from Jorge Luis Borges, but
Right.
and it's like and it was like I used some various like OSR stuff to like randomly generate it, and I was like, hey, I have these two adventures. You want to go to the city? You want to go explore some dungeon? And they could choose. And everything had like a narrative reason why they were like Ninga Ubla's apprentices, and he disappeared, and then they have to take up to the missions that he would solve, the things that he would have to deal with. And so,
Wow.
and then it grew and some of them got to 10th level. In the end, we finished up with, well, actually finished up my part playing I love the game NetHack, if you know about it. It's like an old first, how do you call it? It's like a roguelike. It's a roguelike game. One of the first. It's called NetHack. So in that game, you have to go down to Gehenna, like levels, and
You're
get
saying
the.
NetHack, the Linux game.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I've played it a million times.
Yeah, me too. I almost finished it. I died at the last step, and I was like, I'm never going to play
You
this
go
again.
all the way down
And
to
then,
hell, all these levels of hell,
yes, and
and then you have to go
back.
all the way back up, like 4 levels.
And the wizard chases you, and everything changes. You need to teleport. You're confused. It's horrible, but it's like, okay, we love to do this stuff to ourselves.
It's a great game.
And it's a great game. So anyway, some inspirations from that. So they had to go get the amulet and the Hades in the end. So that they played that with 10 level. They killed Pazuzu. They met like all the archdevils from first edition, and everything. Some of them they role played with. Some of them they killed. Some of them like they had like armies with them. And it was beautiful. Like the final dungeon was. I'm not saying beautiful because it's like how things organically like worked out. That was beautiful because like final dungeon, like I was like they're gonna have boss enemies from all the adventures I ran, but randomly. Like you ran into one. So one of the adventures they played was Grimtooth's dungeon, the one for DCC, not the thread book, but the dungeon.
Right.
So they rolled that Grimtooth appears, and he's invincible, he's indestructible. You can't do anything to him, by how it's written in the adventure. And so, but what they did when they played the adventure, they somehow played cards with his daughter, and they won his dog. they want him, the green dog. And like when we did the trip, they remembered they had the dog in a bag of holding, and they gave him back his dog, so they succeeded in taking him to the end of the adventure. I was like, these guys are gonna get killed now. Okay, whatever, but we have a dog. Yes. So it's like you can't like plan for 10th level BCC. It's like you can plan the campaign, you just have to roll it. And so, but I want to say to like tip my hat up to Joe Goodman because the final adventure we played was like the 1998 Conclave of Wizards, and it's like it turned out into a mini, it blossomed into a mini campaign. It was like 7 sessions or something like that, just in that city with like my add-ons, but it's so well made that you can easily add on stuff to it. Like, and it was phenomenal. So I love this game.
Yeah, I had just reread that, and we were just talking about it in our last show because we were talking about high level adventures, and
because you have one, and I'm going to run yours. I have characters for that. I'm just waiting for it to come out. I'm going to run it. We have organic 10th level characters.
Nice.
Fully homegrown, fully organic.
The 10th Doomstar will come to Serbia.
The 10th Doomstar.
Yeah, it's going to shine over the skies of Belgrade soon.
Yes,
awesome.
Yes, the green comet is coming. Yes, that's a short one. That's not going to take you more than 4 hours because, that tends to lead to lots.
I'm just looking forward to how I'm going to do it eventually with characters that have what these guys have.
Right.
Like not that they're 10th level characters, that they play the campaign, so they have like mutations, magic items, things that nobody else could have ever. So whatever.
Not a pre-gen. These are organic 10th level characters.
Right.
Yeah. One of them is married to a Valkyrie from a horn of Valkyrie summoning, so he has a Valkyrie with him. So whatever, It's like
we gave him plenty of magic items. However, not probably as much as you would have if you really got 10th level through. And of course in DCC you should be having some of that stuff taken away anyway. But
That's
anyway.
Right. Or just want to stop using it because it's so difficult.
Because it comes with cadence, It comes with some bad side,
Yeah. All right. I'm going to move us on to talking about Sickle and Torch because I promised we would.
I appreciate that.
Right. That's what we're here to talk.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I looked through the supplement today. I finally got a little bit of time and looked through it, and I am impressed with kind of like the kind of range of stuff that's inside that supplement. This is I'm not even talking about the adventures yet. I'm just talking about the supplement.
Yeah.
So why don't you give us the pitch? Why don't you tell us about like some of the big ideas inside the book, and let people kind of know what's going to be inside the covers when they get their hands on this sucker.
So the main thing is like there's 3, I would say, options that I think are most important here. There's some others, but the 3 that I would like people to know about more is like the potential mechanic. And the torches as spirits, and the difficulty die. That's the die. That's the 3 things that I like introduce in this. And I don't think any of that is really revolutionary. It's just like my modulations of things that worked for me over the years that I think, hey, people could really like this and use it.
Yeah.
So what's potential?
It's a bunch of great like homebrew rules all put together.
Yeah. And short and sweet. I want to keep it, and really simple to understand and plug into your game if you like.
Yeah.
So the potential thing is like for funnels idea. And like I know it because it's good because every time I ran a funnel with that mechanic, people loved it. Even though they were not going to continue a campaign, if they were going to continue a campaign, they loved it. And what's the idea? To transfer cool moments into concrete benefits for your character in the funnels, and especially in DCC. And I did that in 5e too. You roll 3d6 down the line when you create your characters. Okay, old school. But you can get potential to increase those ability scores by doing smart stuff, cool role playing, or having moments of inspiration, or just being like naturally lucky, So if you like, I give examples in the book, for what happens. But the point is, when you do a cool thing, like the stat that you did it with, or that is related to it, should maybe get the potential to be increased. So what do? You mark up the stat, mark it next to it, and when the encounter completes, you roll a d20. If you roll over your current stat value, the stat increases by 1. But if you roll a 1, it decreases by 1. Also, if you roll a 20, it decreases by 2. It increases by 2. So people have a chance to improve their characters, and they love it's not only, I would say, motivate them. You don't need to motivate people to do cool stuff, but it kind of gives them kind of a framework to think about cool stuff, so it happens more. That's my experience. And that's, when I say cool stuff, I mean oh, look at those hounds. Oh, look there, they beat the lamp. Maybe I can shoot the lamp and the fire falls, it falls and catches fire and they flee. And so cool, you get intelligence potential, and then you succeed, and your company, your party cheers you on. This is a great idea. You get charisma potential or personality in DCC, So it's and then people feel yeah, the good stuff I did gets immediately rewarded or not if I don't roll good, but there's a chance. There's that the dice roll that people love.
So that guy that was all 7s and 8s down the line, he usually just put him out front as cannon fodder. You're I don't care about this guy, right? But he now has a chance to, through adventuring, defeating a monster or finding the treasure.
Or the critical hits, finding the treasure.
Critical
or just being smart,
Yeah, just being smart, some sort of clever play. It goes to a stat, and then when it's over with, you roll the dice, and those stats go up, which is kind of awesome, right? Because now you're not thinking about that guy as just a skid mark on the dungeon floor, but he could quickly develop through a bunch of smart play or whatever into a wizard, right?
Yes, and I literally we'll talk about an example with my friend. He had a halfling, he remembers it. It was 6 years ago when he played it. He remembers that halfling, even though we didn't play a campaign later on, because he got through that Bonemoor Keep adventure. They were defending the fortress, and he was trying to be supportive because he's halfling. He had the horrible stats, and he was cheering people on, helping them, having ideas and everything. And he increased personality. In the end, he had personality 15, starting from 10. It doesn't happen often, that kind of thing. That's why we remember it. But still, it can happen. And then, he had a usable cleric. He can play that cleric and like it. And he has such a great story about how that guy became a cleric.
Right.
That's what funnel is for.
It is really clever. A very interesting. You should get this book and you should try them out in your funnels and your campaigns at home for sure.
Yeah. You should put that
in a book. You heard it as clever now.
Put that in a book.
Yeah, I put it in a book sometime.
You're quick, Julian.
Yes, I'm getting it. It's all coming together now. Okay, What about the next thing?
Tell us about the torch.
So the torch is a way. It came about as a way for me to I was kidding with Chris Doyle a while ago, oh, I want to make a zero adventure for 5e, and he's we're not gonna do that yet, when he was an editor there. But the point is no, then I'm gonna do a zero-level campaign, because they're how do you make a zero-level campaign? I was thinking, what can you do? Why would people want it? And okay, the reason why they may want it is because funnels are so much fun, So maybe you want to keep that mayhem going for several adventures. Why not? Maybe. But still, the point of RPGs is of how we play D&D derivative RPGs is for characters to advance, to become better. That's the main source of dopamine shots from the game, So one of the main sources. What can advance then? If you zero out, okay, you get potential, that's cool, you get better, but still, how do you get more ability or something? And DC helps with that because it's really flat. When you get to level 1, you kind of have what you have until the end. It just gets a little better or more interesting, but you don't unlock abilities at level 6 or whatever, So I was okay, but what if we had a 5th character that is a patron to those characters, and that can advance in levels.
Right.
But it's stupid to have a flair character with them, So I was yes, that could be a spirit that is the torch that they carry. And I'll tell you about why the torch later on. It's kind of a setting thing, but it's also, I think, feeds into the idea. So the character that carries that torch, that has the spirit that is like guarding them, they have the abilities, some abilities of a level 1 character. And what that allows you, it allows you to like maybe that one of the characters you can found, maybe you want to keep them, maybe you want to like preserve them, maybe they're going to carry the torch. But also it allows you to like you have to transfer the torch at the end of the encounter, so all your characters are carrying it because it's spirit that is for all of your guys. You know, you have 4 characters in DCC. And the point is that at the end of the adventure, the torch can advance. So it now bestows abilities of a level 2 character to one of your guys that is carrying it. And when I say abilities, I only mean the stuff that is listed at like warrior level 1. No hit points, no nothing else. Just like it will be mighty deeds die and saves and like the luck bonus to your weapon. And that's it, you know. So that's what you get.
I really,
so,
I really,
but, you know, if you care,
I really like this idea. And I like the way you used it in the book as like, of course, there's always this kind of injustice or this evil or this, something that these poor 0 level people have to deal with. And it's never really talked about how these people kind of get their, the guts to actually stand. It's just kind of assumed like, yes, of course. Yeah, we get up and we want to defeat the evil. But it's actually, you kind of like make it into this like 5th character for that. And I also like some of the terminology used. You call that group of 4 characters a mob, right?
yes, it's your mob.
It's your mob, and then the torch is this like you said, like a spirit of the kind of the uprising against the injustice,
yes.
right? And
so
in
the adventure,
it's the thing that really gets them all charged up, and it's this power, a warrior or a wizard or a thief or whatever, who's they get the and the cleric, right? They get this benefit, a 1st level character benefit for the entire mob that is held by that one character that has the torch. I thought this was really interesting, and it really seems to play into the setting that you're building with the adventurers too, right? All this injustice, all this evil that has to be kind of dismantled for them to be happy.
Yeah, for them to like live, decent lives.
Yeah.
So the here and the idea is like, okay, there's this horrible oppressive empire you're living in. I mean, there's one in every setting. So
I don't know what you're talking about. Everything
itself.
over here is freaking great.
Oh yeah, I love this setting we're in. So yeah, and anyway, so like you witness like an unjust death, like a burning of a witch in Salem, or a soldier who wouldn't like perform like his duties being executed but he had like and you get inspired by that and you pick up the piece of burning wood from the pyre on which that person was burned, and you pick it up and the spirit of that person is inside. It's like Joan of Arc, literally. That's basically what happens in the legendarium.
Yeah.
So and then for me that's also like as you were saying, that's a great reason for people to become heroes. They usually it's when you have nowhere else to go and you have to face it, and then nobody else can face it except you. And there you find strength in numbers.
Yeah. So
like this, let's go with a funnel. Let's go 4 each.
And this is a great like role playing setup, right? Where like these heroes, right, are kind of executed in front of your eyes, and part of that injustice just inflames you, right, to pick up that torch and go off and slay the bad guy. So I thought that was really brilliant. Let's talk about the last thing. Let's talk about the difficulty die.
The difficulty die. Yes. So what they did, I use that in all of my D&D like games now. So the idea is you set a DC, and in 5e it's really easy. The 5e it has basic DC of 8 plus something always. So in DCC I kind of scale that. So it's but what's the idea? So challenges for all DCs that that you encounter as a, let's say, as a 1st level party, a 0 level party, all DCs are 8 plus D3. So you can get a DC that's higher than 11 or lower than 9. But if you're a 1st level party, it's 9 plus D4. If you're a 2nd level, it's 10 plus D5. If you're 3rd level, it's 11 plus D6. So the challenges scale, and they scale in a bounded way.
Yeah.
And you never have to look up and think about what the DC is.
Right. And so, and then,
That's what
and
I'm
you're using it,
saying, you know.
and you're
But,
using it like kind
pushing
of
the
in
adventure.
each room, right? Like you'll roll that difficulty
Yeah.
die
So
in each room, and
yeah.
kind of have it out there for everybody to remember, right, where we're at.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then, and
Yeah. The
so,
rest of this room is kind of hard. It's a 13.
yeah, right.
You know.
So
Yeah.
is the DC the DCs also become the armor classes of the monsters, or how does that work?
Yeah, so with that one role, so I kind of had to modify how monsters are presented, but it's still the DCC or 5e rules, whatever. So let's
Okay.
stick with DCC.
Okay.
So you don't, like in my monster block stats, you don't get no bonuses, so no saving throws, no attack, no damage, no hit points, no numerals. You get no numerals.
Okay.
So what you do, you just what you roll, you say roll the D3 for that encounter. So it's like you roll the 2, the monsters in that room, +2 to hit, +2 to saving throws, +2 to their spell casting, and they have 10 +2 to AC.
Okay.
And DCs against their powers are 9 +2 in this case.
Got it.
And the final thing is their hit points. So I just get I use that from 5e, but it works really great in DC. So you have monsters, creature sizes, small, medium, large, legendary or huge. So it's D6, and DC also uses this kind of, when I design monsters. So small creatures have a D6, medium have D8, large have D10, legendary have D12. And that's their hit points. You multiply that by the roll of the dice, so it's by 2 in this case. So,
Okay.
and that's it. You have all the monsters you have. So what you need to read is only if the monster has special attacks or some kind of special thing with it, you know.
Hmm. I love the idea that you see the character roll and they decide how much they roll and they can spend luck if they want. But anyway, they end up with a 16 on the dice or whatever. And instead of telling them if they made it or not, you can roll the DC in the open right in front of them then.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You can just say, well, okay, let's see if you made it. And
let's see if you made it. And another cool thing is that that this feeds into how encounters work in Sickle and Torch, or in most of my games that I run now. It's like I want to give players the agency in encounters, not only like okay, we can choose to role play, we can choose to trick them or sneak. Okay, that's great, or you can find. But the point is that whether there's going to be an encounter and how hard it's going to be, we roll the difficulty die. And then they have to beat that result in the room. So they enter a room, I roll a 13 for the DC of that room. If they roll above 13, there's no encounter in the room. They roll below, there's an encounter. And they can spend luck on the roll. So I had great situations that they were like running from the dungeon. They were like really beaten up and everything. And so they conserve their luck to like roll 3 rolls in a row to try to avoid encounters so they can escape outside. And they didn't. So they rolled, they failed. Okay, let's spend 2 luck on this, and we passed. So we're lucky we got away from this room. And I don't know, in my experience, it adds to the dynamics because it's more kind of also more kind of like a cooperative game. I know D&D is a cooperative game, but in the sense of like what happens, it becomes a bit more.
Yeah, there's
Less
that kind of moment, like maybe you're like 3/4 of the way through the adventure, right? Everybody's like, you've lost a bunch of people, you're like really worried, and you're like,
you have one guy with a lot of luck, and you're going first, and you're spending this luck doing nothing.
and so this is really interesting, just kind of a way to skip to the end or whatever in an adventure. Not skip to the end, but like luck out of it.
Luck out of it, yeah.
And then I assume like this is a great thing for you in this case. The guy who's play tested this a million times is you have to kind of explain how they get through this room on luck, right? Like some story, little bit of storytelling.
Yes, I'm a selfish game master. I want also to have fun when I run, and I want to be surprised. I want to play as much as they are playing,
Yeah.
So that's the main driving force behind all this, because in the adventures you get to rooms, there are no encounters, no keyed encounters anywhere. You only get to rooms, and every room has something in it, some stuff to do, or something. But it can happen in every room that there's an encounter if it's rolled that way, So and it works for me great because I had to run each of these adventures multiple times, and it was the new adventure for me every time, So
Oh wow.
that's like I love a lot of funnels, but like not all of them are. I ran several of them, and my friends ran like sailors 10 times, and that's one of the adventures that's always fun and something different happens, So that's what I strive for, that's to be fun for the judge also.
So this is also these mechanics also help kind of randomize a regular adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can plug it into your adventure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Cool
speaking
stuff.
of the adventures, tell us about. There's 4 adventures, right?
Yes.
And
So
tell us a little bit about them in general. What's inside and
So as you know, the team is like this evil empire is like shaking, and now the people have had enough, and they decide to rebel. And we know it happened in history a lot of times.
I don't know.
And
That doesn't happen in America.
I will we talk about it after the show.
Oh, okay.
I have some thoughts. So over here,
Before we
from
started the
Los
show, we started talking about politics. So I'm just
in 2 minutes,
like in 2 minutes of
Serbian,
sitting down.
yeah. Yeah, with a Balkan guy, it's gonna happen. Like in 2 minutes, you're gonna be talking politics. No. So whatever.
100%.
Point is here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that people like so. I have 4 like evil strongholds that all symbolize an aspect of what an evil empire would be. So one of them is like the blood stronghold of the blood bailiff. So that's flavors, and the first enemy I encountered in D&D
Oh, right.
and always one of my favorite like evil guys,
Yes.
because I hate them.
The
And so the
worst.
point is that yeah, so this guy's like Baron Harkonnen that is a slaver,
Yeah.
So he also is the debt collector, the debt collector and the slaver. So you want that guy gone. So and he's also like a Harkonnen, like everybody grotesque opulence. So you can imagine, like
Yes.
this kind of so this adventure is the most grim dark or like body horror of the adventures.
Right.
But because it's like a real evil guy that does like unspeakable things like with people and like has wizards that help and that. But also in this adventure, people can. As I like to say, do a jubilee. They have a chance to erase all that. So that's a good thing. Like
He's
the end of Fight Club.
he's a real Baron Harkonnen kind of character.
Yeah. So
That
that's
sounds
like
good.
yeah. So that's like let's say like uh, bloated evil capitalism and like people that sell other people. That's one aspect of like the evil empire.
Yeah.
So the second aspect is like always has a ideological religious component. So it's like corrupt clergy. So there's this huge temple in the it's like the Basilica of Saint Peter. I'm not aiming it. I'm a Catholic, but I'm not. It's like it's like Basilica of Saint Peter equivalent, and like people have had it with the clerics that openly like support all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's the slavery for that indebtedness and then like burning of people who like try to say something different.
Yeah.
So an Inquisition has did one too many burning, and the people like started like broke into the temple. And the adventure is mostly the most classic dungeons you in an evil temple.
Yeah.
So you have to go through it, and then there's like of course the dungeon underneath, which is like the grottos of Vatican, and then you have to like get down and discover your main enemy, the Inquisitor, that has been doing all the burning. But of course, what is the source of the corruption of the clergy? And it's a really bad thing. It's I don't know. I don't want to spoil it, but let's say that the thing the church was founded on to keep the peace and everything. That's the thing that corrupted it. It's like kind of like a really like I love that. That's in Warhammer also, like some kind of. So this is like kind of a dungeon.
Yes. Sounds
And
perfect.
the third adventure is like mostly the most science fantasy of all. It's the Panopticon, the Panopticon Overmind, and so that's the magical surveillance of the empire. So it's like a citadel. It houses like an AI, or like a brain bat
Yeah.
thing that sends out eyes that fly all around and spy on people. And so and now these eyes have been recalled because the people have revolted and people are trying to get into the Panopticon. and the characters have to get into this really impregnable fortress. It's like a round tower, and they can catch dry eyes by the dangling nerves and try to get in like that. Or they can try to bust in, or they can try to swim in. And inside is like kind of a really weird science fantasy vibe because like all those mages that have been making those things have been trying to create an mind that they can that can tell the future and tell them everything that's going to happen so they can rule for eternity, you know. And of course the players realize that there's some factions inside. Some of those wizards are maybe have had enough, maybe some are like trying to do some other stuff, and they can try to do this. And so this adventure is like has some really cool stuff that PCs can do, you know, inside. Well, every adventure has it. I don't wanna. I try to keep the spot between being like enticing but still vague enough, you know, to not reveal too much.
I really liked
It's
it.
hard.
I looked looking through that one in particular. I'm already planning to adapt it out for Netcrawl. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean,
love
that goes
hearing
right
that.
to Netcrawl, right?
Yeah, like the whole thing about
Yeah,
surveillance state and all that stuff. That's not, just sounds
Yeah.
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that doesn't sound familiar either.
No, totally. Also not current topics.
Keep going.
You know, so and the final one I wrote is like it's most the most like carnival adventure. I tried to like make it have a lot of fun stuff, and it's the roving Alcazar of the Golden Principle. So it's like and it deals with the rulers themselves, the nobility. You know, those that think that they have right to rule because they were born this into them and how that corrupts people. And so this is the roving palace that roams around the empire as kings are wont to do. It settles it one of some lord's like land and then leeches off of it until the king or the principal has had enough, and then it goes to somewhere else. You know?
Right.
And so, and as the revolt spreads, the slaves of that thing also like tried to revolt, and they opened the gates to it. And so now the people can enter and see for themselves the unimaginable opulence of a fantasy vampire king. You know, so so the adventure, like in that adventure, you can end up in a different world, get lost in it, ride a balloon, pilot the castle, get stuck into an elemental's body. It can happen like a lot of stuff
So,
can happen.
how can I ask how long have you been writing the adventures? Like how much time has it been from the first adventure to the current, to the last one?
Let's say 2 years.
How many years?
Let's say 2 years.
2 years?
Two.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, all kidding aside about politics, like these kinds of things, these adventures, right, are places to explore kind of what's going on around us, right, and kind of have some agency in a place where we don't really have any per se.
That's why we play D&D.
That's why we play. I mean,
Yeah.
and I always reject this kind of mentality of guys say, let's not be political. It's like, you do know that we are on the planet Earth, right? And there is stuff going
You
on.
can't not be political.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be like pretentious, but like everything that you create for like no reason is art in my book. You know, it
Sure.
can be bad art, it's art. You know, so
Yeah.
so the point
Yeah.
here is that, but good art speaks to what we experience and live. So best science fiction is about the present, they say. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know, I want to touch on those things in a way that's kind of like makes sense in a DCT game or a D&D game, you know.
Sure.
But still, why not touch those things? If you can do it in a way that makes sense
Yeah.
for your game, and not like like cheap like plastic paper cutouts of some figure you hate, you put it in a game so people can, you know, it's okay. But this is kind of like you know, speak to those things we all feel hopeful. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not roll the dice and watch the bodies fall. It's like the real it's the art of it, right? Like having feelings, as you go through this adventure and
And that's what I hope to achieve, you know. And you get that in a funnel because you have more characters, and so some unexpected things can shine through, you know. Like, oh, now you have like this lamplighter that like it's come to the place of like eternal flame, and you needed to have had the lamplighter. You could have rolled something else, you know. But then it's like something magical happens because it's like it just clicks together because of the randomness.
Right.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference if you have a goose or a cow or an extra pair of gloves or whatever that the
Yeah.
random stuff can be a big deal.
Yeah, I wanted to add that there's like a small section on how to creatively how to use trade goods from DCC Zero Hour characters that can actually help. Like I try to
Oh, right.
give. I noticed that a lot of new players get lost with paradoxically get lost with the lack of options. They're like, well, I have a zero level that can only like do this, because they
Right.
read that on the character sheets.
Right.
Right,
And so
right.
if I give them like, oh, but okay, the cow is easy or a duck here, it's fun always. But like, oh, you have a sack of turnips. Maybe you can like roll it down this tunnel and see what happens there. Or maybe you can like throw it at this trap, a turnip. So I try to write up some ideas for people that are starting the zero hour play to maybe like have some creative use and make trade goods actually like some kind of little special items.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's it,
and
and that's in the Sickle and Torch. You've got kind of like a page or
Yeah,
two
yeah,
where you like, oh,
yeah,
you have
yeah,
this thing, but it could be used in this way or that way or this other way. It's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
pickle them, mash with a little garlic and butter. I mean, people don't know you can
do
turn up.
wonders with that.
Oh my
he's like,
God.
you could use. I remember one thing in there, it was like a side of beef. You can use it to kind of make a beast
Yes.
encounter turn friendly,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So like,
And I also have that like to make it easier for GM for the players. Like only like I put monsters into 4 types. That's from D&D but simplified. Like humanoids, outsiders, beasts, and monstrosities. Like everything else. So it's like so yes, you can use meat to like maybe like lure away a beast. Of course you can. Like, I mean, but some people need to like read it to know. Oh, it's a rule. I can do it.
right.
So like
I can be
and,
creative.
and yes, yes, but still like but it opens them up. Then it's oh yes, I can do it. So they do it themselves. Then
Yeah.
afterwards. But also for cheese, you have a lot of cheese, but that can lure, or that's a humanoid who doesn't like cheese.
And like
So it's like,
a beggar could, someone with a beggar bowl could kind of like use it to kind of like
yeah,
interrupt somebody. Like, and then the beggar
yeah,
appears, and the monster's like, "What? Why? Why? Oh, I'm disgusted. No beggars."
yeah. I don't want to do this. Like,
No, no,
monster goes
I'm not
away.
giving anything today. I'm busy. I'm just gonna avoid your
So
eye
yeah,
contact.
so I tell you, it's more fun in funnels. Putting more fun in funnels. That's the idea.
Yeah, it's a really again, like it's a really interesting supplement. It is a bunch of different home kind of brewed rules for zero level stuff, and I think people should pick it up for their games and start playing with it. I think it's a great supplement.
I mean, I think these adventures sound crazy.
Yes.
And very interesting and fun, and people should check them out. But it sounds like these homebrew rules and stuff are worth the price of admission alone. I mean,
Yeah.
people run and even written billions of funnels, and we're still doing stuff the same way though,
Right.
not just funnels,
Yeah,
but
right,
regular
right,
games.
right.
So expand, expand, and also add your own rules, right? And
Why not?
do the whole thing. So yeah, I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Well, it's getting late there. We could go on probably for another hour, easy.
I think we should need. My friend needs to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So let's. I mean, it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show, Mihailo.
It's a pleasure being here.
And man, I would love to have you back again, maybe a different time that's a little less heinous, and maybe we'll talk some more about whatever you got coming out next.
Maybe let Julian talk on it.
There we go.
Yeah. I'll what I'll do is I'll brush up on my Serbian, and I'll be on Mihailo's and Svebor's podcast. It'll be good.
Hvala.
Speaking Serbian.
Hvala.
Wow, awesome.
Yes.
That's
And next time we'll drink Julius.
Yeah.
all right. So I want to thank you again, Judge Mihailo, for coming on and joining us for this episode of Spellburn. But before we go, do you have a crowdfunding campaign that's coming up next month? A topic you'd like Spellburn to cover? A patron you'd like Spellburn to invoke? some random questions, or just how you doing, email us early and often at spellburnband@gmail.com. Reminder, of course, that's right. And so a reminder, we've changed our broadcast format. We're no longer live. We're taped in front of an undead studio audience of email zombies.
This is not live.
It is not live. We then spindle and mutilate this show and then posthumously upload it to Goodman Games YouTube channel. That's still at youtube.com at Goodman Games. We miss you already, Alana. Thank yous.
Yes.
Mega thanks to Glitter Wizard, Loot the Body, and St. Carla for permission to use their music. And as always, thanks to our patron, AI Judge Jim, for all the hosting and maintenance help, and Judge Bob, and with all the help for editing. And a special note to both Judge Jen and Judge Bob. Condolences on the loss of your furry.
Condolences. I'm really sorry I missed Jen.
No.
Understandable condolences.
No, for sure. Our hearts are going up. Man, it's been a dark 6 months for us.
Sure has.
Just very unhappy, but thinking of you guys.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're listening, and find any issues, let us know at spellburnband at gmail.com. We'll bring this to spellburn.com soon for all the audio files. Heal up, burners. We'll see you next month on Spellburn. Any final words, Judge Julian?
Game on.
Judge Mihailo?
Game on forever, man.
All right.
Watch out for the glare.
It's time to go to bed. And then so long for me. Go for it or go to hell. That's what I say. And with that, we're out.